You hatch from an egg somewhere in the forests of North America, and around you, thousands of siblings crack out of their shells at the same time, each one no bigger than a grain of sand. But none of them stay close. You need to eat, so you start climbing. You pull yourself up the nearest stem with your 6 legs, moving slowly but steadily until you reach the top. Then you stretch your front legs out wide and wait. This is called questing, and it's the only way you know how to find a host. A few hours pass with nothing, but then a white-footed mouse runs along the base of the stem and brushes against it, making the whole thing shake. You grab on. You crawl through its fur, looking for a thin patch of skin, and when you find one behind its ear, you push your mouthparts in and start feeding. This is your first meal and the only one you'll need for weeks. But then the mouse stops and scratches hard at the spot with its back leg, and the force of it tears you free and sends you tumbling down into the leaf litter. You land on your back with your legs in the air, and it takes a while before you manage to flip yourself over. The mouse is already gone. Your mouthparts are empty and you haven't taken in enough to survive for long. So you drag yourself back toward the nearest stem and start climbing again. You're 3 weeks old now, and you're still on the ground with your stomach empty after falling from the mouse. You need to eat before your body gives out, so you climb the nearest stem again with your 6 legs and stretch your front legs out wide and wait. A white-tailed deer walks through the trees and its leg brushes the stem, so you grab on and climb up through the thick fur until you find a patch of thin skin near the base of its tail. You push your mouthparts in and start feeding, and this time nothing knocks you free. You stay locked in place for 3 days, with your body slowly swelling as you take in more blood than you weigh right now. When you finally have enough, you release your grip and drop into the leaf litter below. Your body is heavier than it has ever been, so you move slowly into a patch of dead leaves and go still. Now you need to molt. Your old skin splits down the back and you push yourself out of it, and when it's done you have 8 legs instead of 6. You're a nymph now, bigger and stronger than the larva you were before. But while your new skin is still hardening, a ground beetle walks directly toward you with its jaws already open. You can't run fast enough, so you press yourself flat against a leaf and stay completely still. The beetle walks past you and keeps going, missing you by less than the width of your body. Your skin finishes hardening and you start moving again. You're bigger now, and you can reach hosts that were too high before. But the bigger you get, the easier you are to spot, and not everything out there is going to walk past. You're 2 months old now, and you climb a tall grass stem and stretch your front legs out, waiting for something large to pass. A white-tailed deer walks through the grass and its belly brushes the stem, so you grab on and pull yourself up into the fur. You crawl toward the deer's head, looking for thin skin near the ear, and when you find the right spot, you push your mouthparts in and start feeding. The deer shakes its head hard, trying to knock you free, but your mouthparts are locked in too deep, so you hold on. Then it drops to the ground and rolls onto its side, pressing the side of its head into the dirt and dragging it back and forth. The pressure crushes you against the soil and your legs scrape against the ground, but you keep your grip and wait for it to stop. When the deer finally stands back up, you're still attached, covered in dirt but locked in. You feed for 4 days, with your body swelling larger than it was after your first feed. But on the 4th day, the deer walks into a shallow stream and lowers its head into the water, submerging the spot where you're feeding. You hold on as long as you can, but the current pulls at your body and eventually tears you free, sending you tumbling along the stream bed until you wash up on the muddy bank. You lie on your back in the mud with your legs moving in the air. It takes a long time before you manage to flip yourself over. You're full enough to survive, but the deer took everything you found and made it hard. Next time you'll need a host that stands still for longer, and soon you'll be big enough to find one. You're 4 months old now, and the trees have started dropping their leaves around you. You climb a low stem and stretch your front legs out, but the hosts that passed through regularly before have stopped coming through this part of the forest. You wait for a full day with nothing brushing past, so you climb back down and move deeper into the leaf litter to find somewhere sheltered. You push yourself under a thick layer of dead leaves and go still. Your body slows down completely, with your legs pulling in close and your mouthparts going still. You're not dead, but you're not really moving either. This is the only way you can survive when no hosts are coming, and the forest goes quiet. Weeks pass with you buried under the leaves, completely still. Then a short-tailed shrew starts digging through the leaf litter nearby, pushing the leaves aside with its nose and front legs as it searches for insects. It gets closer and closer until its snout is almost touching you, and it pauses there for a moment with its nose pressed into the leaves right next to your body. You stay completely flat and don't move at all. Then the shrew turns and digs in a different direction, pulling up a cluster of beetle larvae and moving away. A few more weeks pass before the leaves above you start to shift. Thin lines of light come through the gaps and the other animals start moving through the forest again. Your legs slowly spread back out and you push yourself up through the leaf litter until you reach the surface. You're still alive and you're hungry again. You're a nymph still, but not for much longer. The next feed will change that, and after it does, everything about the way you hunt will be different. You're 6 months old now, and you climb the tallest stem you can find and stretch your front legs out wide. A red fox trots through the undergrowth and its tail sweeps across the stem, so you grab on and pull yourself up into the thick fur along its back. You crawl until you find a patch of thin skin near the base of its tail and push your mouthparts in. And this time the fox doesn't roll or shake. It just keeps moving through the forest with you locked in place and feeding. You feed for 5 days, with your body swelling bigger than it has ever been before. When you finally drop off into the leaf litter, you push yourself under a cluster of dead leaves and go still. Your old skin splits down the back just like it did before, but this time what comes out is different. Your body is wider and darker, and when you pull your legs free from the old skin, you count them again. Still 8, but everything else has changed. You're an adult now, and you're a female. A few days later, a male tick finds you on the underside of a leaf. He's smaller than you and moves quickly, climbing onto your back and staying there for a short while before dropping off and disappearing into the leaf litter. You'll never see him again. But what he left behind is already changing things inside you, and your body starts preparing for something that has nothing to do with feeding. You need one more host, not to survive, but because what's growing inside you needs more than you currently have to finish developing. So you climb back up the stem and stretch your front legs out, and you wait. You're 7 months old now, and a white-tailed deer walks through the undergrowth with its leg brushing every stem it passes, so you grab on as it moves past and pull yourself up into the fur. You crawl up toward the neck and push your mouthparts into a patch of thin skin, and the deer keeps walking without reacting. You stay locked in for 6 days, with your body swelling so large that your legs can barely reach the ground when you finally drop off. You land in the leaf litter and start moving, but not toward another stem this time. You need somewhere flat and sheltered to lay your eggs, so you push through the dead leaves until you find a gap between 2 roots where nothing can step on you. Then you stop moving and start laying. The eggs come out one by one and pile up slowly around your body, and you stay in that same spot for weeks, with your legs holding you steady over the growing cluster beneath you. You're still laying when a wolf spider walks along the root above you and drops down onto the leaf litter nearby. It moves toward you with its front legs testing the ground, and when it gets close enough it lunges. You pull your legs in, and the spider's jaws close on the edge of your back, tearing away a small piece before you drag yourself sideways behind the root. The spider follows, so you push yourself into a gap in the bark that's too narrow for it to fit through, and you wait there while it walks back and forth outside. After a while, the spider leaves. You crawl back out and find the eggs still piled where you left them. You've laid over 2,000 already, and you're not finished yet. When the last one is down, your body will have nothing left to do, so you'll need to climb one final time. You're 8 months old now, and your body is almost empty after weeks of laying eggs. You need to feed one final time, so you drag yourself toward the nearest stem and start climbing. Your legs are slower than they used to be, and you stop twice on the way up. But you reach the top and stretch your front legs out wide and wait. A white-tailed deer walks through the trees, and its shoulder brushes the stem hard enough to knock you loose. So you grab onto the fur before you fall and pull yourself up through it until you find a thick patch of skin along the neck. You push your mouthparts in deeper than you ever have before, locking yourself in place so nothing can pull you free, and the deer walks on through the forest with you attached and feeding. 1 day passes, then 2, then 3. The deer shakes its head and walks through low branches that drag across its neck, but your grip holds each time. By the 4th day, your body has swelled to the size of a small grape, with your legs barely able to lift your own weight anymore. By the 6th day, your legs stop reaching the skin beneath you entirely, and you just hang there, fully locked in and completely still. On the 8th day, your mouthparts finally loosen on their own, and you drop. You fall through the fur and hit the leaf litter below with your legs pointing upward, and this time you can't flip yourself over. Your body is too swollen and too heavy, so you lie there on your back with your legs moving slowly in the air above you. You've done everything. You hatched, you fed, you molted, you mated, and you laid your eggs. The only thing left now is to wait, and something out there will find you before long. You're still on your back in the leaf litter, with your legs moving slower than before. A wild turkey walks through the trees, stepping through the dead leaves and pecking at the ground as it moves. It stops a short distance away and pecks at a beetle, then takes 2 more steps in your direction and stops again. It tilts its head and looks down at you, then pecks at a dead leaf next to your body. Then it pecks again, this time hitting one of your legs, and you pull it in toward your body. The turkey tilts its head the other way and looks at you for a moment, then opens its beak and swallows you whole in one quick motion. Inside the turkey's stomach, strong muscles close around you from every side and start pushing. Your swollen body holds together for a moment, then the pressure builds and your shell cracks, and everything inside you breaks down quickly. The 2,000 eggs you spent weeks laying are gone in seconds, crushed along with the rest of you before anything can survive. The turkey keeps walking through the forest, stepping over roots and pecking at the ground, with no change in its pace and no pause after swallowing you. It moves away through the trees and disappears. Back where you fell, the leaf litter settles flat again. The stem you climbed this morning is still there, swaying slightly as the turkey's footsteps fade away through the undergrowth. Somewhere underneath a cluster of dead leaves nearby, 2,000 eggs sit in a small pile between two roots, and none of them know yet what's coming.